What if I told you that after the death of legendary music mogul Quincy Jones, shocking secrets about him and his family started coming to light? Secrets so wild, they've turned the internet upside down. Stick around, because this is a story about betrayal, heartbreak, and accusations that no one saw coming. It's been a few days since the world lost Quincy Jones, but instead of the usual outpouring of love and respect, something else is happening, something unexpected. Kidada Jones, Quincy's daughter, has found herself in the middle of an online storm. She's being dragged through the mud for a connection to some serious allegations tied to her father's legacy. But what's really going on here? Why is Kidada, a grieving daughter, being pulled into the mess surrounding her father's passing? The truth is more twisted than you might imagine, and it all starts with the very relationship that Quincy Jones had with Tupac Shakur. Yes, that Tupac. Now, before we dive into the drama, let's rewind a bit to when Quincy passed away. His family released a heartfelt statement honoring his incredible life and legacy. They said, "Tonight, with full but broken hearts, we must share the news of our father and brother's passing." They spoke about his music, his boundless love, and how his heart would beat for eternity. Seems pretty standard, right? But that's when the storm started to brew. Kidada Jones, daughter of Quincy Jones, has been getting quite a bit of attention online lately. Why? Well, her name keeps popping up in conversations about the complex, sometimes controversial relationship between her late father and her late fiancé, Tupac Shakur. For those of you who didn't know, Tupac was actually planning on signing with Quincy's record label before his tragic death. Keyshia Cole even revealed in a live interview that on the day he passed, Tupac told her he was leaving Death Row Records to join Quincy Jones's label, and he wanted Keyshia to come with him. But here's the kicker. Tupac and Quincy didn't exactly start off on the best terms. It all started when Tupac took a shot at Quincy in an interview, criticizing his interracial relationships and the impact that had on his children. Kidada's sister, Rashida Jones, didn't hold back and publicly slammed Tupac in response, calling his moral compass into question. But as fate would have it, Kidada and Tupac ended up crossing paths months later at a nightclub. Tupac, thinking Kidada was Rashida, approached her to apologize for his earlier comments about their father. And just like that, sparks flew. Kidada and Tupac fell in love, and it wasn't long before Quincy, who had initially been skeptical, warmed up to the relationship. He eventually became quite close to Tupac himself. But let's not sugarcoat things. This story is far from a fairy tale. Kidada wrote about her relationship with Tupac in her father's autobiography, describing him as the love of her life. The two lived together for 4 months before that fateful night in Las Vegas in 1996. Kidada was there when Tupac was shot, and she'll never forget the moment she received that life-changing call. She rushed to the hospital, only to be handed Tupac's blood-soaked clothes and told he had lost all his blood pressure by the time he arrived. In her father's autobiography, Kidada recalled saying to Tupac as he lay in the hospital bed, "Do you know I love you? Do you know we all love you?" Tupac, in his final moments, nodded and convulsed before slipping into a coma. It was a devastating blow to Kidada, one she still hasn't fully processed. She even admitted, "I knew we should have never gone to Vegas that night. I had a horrible feeling about it," and those words still haunt her to this day. So, while Kidada was grappling with the loss of the love of her life, a darker and more troubling side to this story was beginning to unfold. Here's where things get a little messy, because you see, it's not just Kidada who's been dragged into this. People are starting to talk about Quincy's past relationships with other men, including the one with Tupac, and that's where things get wild. There's a long-rumored interview that supposedly features Tupac confessing that Quincy Jones asked him to hook up with him. That's right, asked him to hook up. Now, if you try to find this interview online, you won't get far. It has mysteriously disappeared, but several credible sources, like Death Row bodyguard Reggie Wright Jr., have confirmed that it existed. In fact, Reggie was on a podcast where he talked about Tupac's claims, saying that Quincy had made advances toward the rapper. And while this information is still debated, the fact remains. People are talking about it. Tupac's words, as wild as they sound, could have been the reason for the tension between him and Kidada's father. It was a relationship that started with a lot of bad blood and only got more complicated from there. Now let's take a moment to look at Quincy's own denial of these allegations. In an interview with the New York Times, Quincy defended himself, saying, "Imagine my daughter being engaged to Tupac and me trying to make love to him. I'm not into no man. It was a clear rejection of the claim. Yet despite his words, the speculation hasn't died down. And as if the Tupac drama wasn't enough, let's add another layer to this already tangled web. People have also been pointing fingers at Quincy in relation to the death of Aaliyah. Kidada and Aaliyah were close friends, so close in fact that they were planning to launch a clothing line together before Aaliyah's tragic passing. Kidada even described their friendship as being so easy, it felt like they were dog park friends who just hit it off instantly. But according to some rumors, Kidada and her father knew how much Aaliyah hated the industry. and some have even speculated that Quincy's connections may have played a part in Aaliyah's untimely death. There are whispers that Quincy had a hand in orchestrating some of the darker aspects of Hollywood, with Diddy allegedly playing a role in carrying out some of these schemes on Quincy's behalf. As if all this wasn't enough, let's not forget the long-standing feud between Quincy Jones and Diddy. Quincy wasn't exactly shy about his disdain for Diddy, even calling him out during an interview in 2012. But Diddy wasn't one to back down. In fact, there's a strange and unsettling story that emerged about Diddy and Kidada during the height of their East Coast-West Coast beef. According to one account, Kidada once went to a table where Diddy was sitting and accidentally grabbed a glass that he had reportedly urinated in. She was about to drink from it when someone stopped her. It's a bizarre and uncomfortable story, but it paints a picture of the unhealthy dynamics surrounding these influential figures. So what does all of this mean? What's really going on here? Quincy Jones's death has brought a flood of old rumors, allegations, and suspicions to the surface. Kidada Jones, now thrust into the middle of this storm, is being accused of being part of a much darker legacy than anyone realized. But let's be real for a second. Is it fair for Kidada to be dragged through the mud for things her father allegedly did, especially so soon after his death? Is it right to connect her to her father's skeletons just because she loved someone who had a complicated history with him? At the end of the day, we may never know the full truth behind all the rumors, but one thing's for sure, Kidada Jones is dealing with more than just the loss of her father. She's fighting to protect her reputation, her family, and the memory of the man she loved. The real question is, will the truth ever be fully revealed? The drama surrounding Quincy Jones's death isn't over. New details are still emerging, and as always, the internet has plenty of opinions. What do you think about all this? Is Kidada getting unfairly blamed? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.